everyone. It's 2007 Cali Special here. I got my friend Ron. He's a veteran here. And what we're going to do is we're going to, I'm looking to take the car cross country and basically do rides with vets. Your story needs to be told, and I want to honor your story. So this is going to be our first episode of hopefully bigger things to come. And if you'd like to, Ron, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Ron Etheridge. I'm a 13-year Army veteran and also a Gold Star dad. We lost our son in Iraq July 18th, 2007. And that was the day that it's probably the worst day of my life. And Zach was an infantry guy. He went down in Ottomia, Iraq. And there Bradley was hit by an IED, and it was a big one. They were running in an area that they were unfamiliar with, but they had to go out on this mission. Alpha Company 126 Infantry. You know, those guys were all over the place. They really they took some heavy losses. Charlie Company took the most losses over there. At last count, I think they were down like 30 some people they lost.
Oh wow.
So it was truly a horrible show for them. But you know, they did what they had to do. Me being an Army vet, you know, I talked to my son, and I said, well, when he got ready to enlist in the military, you know, I told him, says, well, okay, listen, Mom and I have plans for you to go to Penn Tech. Penn Tech is Penn State's School of Technology up in Williamsport.
Okay.
He wanted to do auto mechanics. So he also wanted to do auto mechanics in the military.
All right.
So that was cool. So the day that his recruiter come picked him up, Mom and I told him, said, listen, don't do anything until you call Ron. Call me. Let's talk about this. Well, he gets to MEPS, and we were at a conference that day up in Camp Hill. We didn't hear from him all day long. I'm like, something's not right.
Yeah.
So about 4 o'clock, I get this phone call with Zach. I says, okay, what'd you do? And he hesitated. He says, I went infantry.
Oh wow.
And that was because the recruiters up there, they dangled that bonus out in front of him.
Yeah.
And all he saw as an 18-year-old, wow, I'm going to get all this money.
Yep.
But see, what he didn't understand at that time either, that he wasn't getting a lump sum of money.
Yeah.
It was going to be prorated over time. For his enlistment was 4 years.
Okay, so 4 years.
Actually, just keep going straight. You got to
Okay.
go out the other way. Keep going straight all the way through down there. So he enlisted for 4 years.
Okay.
And at that point, I told Deb, I says, all right, all we can do is support him. And we were behind him 100%. And, you know, he enlisted. He went through basic training and his infantry training. He graduated, and then he was shipped to Germany.
Okay.
Well, the unit he got assigned to, 126 Infantry, they were on orders for deployment. So he gets there, and that August they deployed to Iraq.
Oh wow. That's a big day for you guys.
Yeah. So, you know, it was bittersweet, but me being a veteran, listen, you go and do as the military tells you to do.
Yeah.
So I was happy for him. He got assigned to 126 Infantry, which is the first ID, 1st Infantry Division, the Big Red 1. And yeah, once they deployed, then we stayed in touch with him because he would call us.
Yeah.
He had a phone over, a cell phone over there. So whenever he had a chance, he would call, and then all of a sudden, hey Mom, I gotta go. We got a mission.
Yeah.
And so he'd be gone, and of course, during their missions, you don't hear from him.
Yep.
And at the same time, when things happen, whenever there's a casualty, they go on a blackout.
Okay.
And that blackout means that there's no communications outside because they want whatever has happened. They want to be able to notify the families before it hits the news media.
Okay.
So, because they don't want the families finding out, hey, this has happened, something happened.
Yep. You don't need to find out on TV that something bad happened.
Not at all. So, but the day that Zach went down, they were on this mission. They had never been in. They had never been in this area, and the area was known to have a big IED.
Okay.
Because the one company refused to go out because they knew the road was there, but the commander of Alpha Company decided, well, he was taking that mission, and in reality, he should have never took that mission and been out there because they weren't familiar with that area.
Oh, all right.
And, so they went in, they cleared the town, they did their mission, and on the way back out, that's when the IED was triggered by cell phone.
Oh, no kidding. Wow.
And from everything that I was told, it was equivalent to a 500-pound bomb.
Wow.
So that day, we lost 4 soldiers. Zach's platoon sergeant, the gunner, and Zach, and the medic. Plus their interpreter.
And the interpreter.
Yeah, it was a tough day. And see, at that time, Deb was working for the York Revolution.
Okay.
Because see, in 2007, this was their inaugural season.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So she was working downtown. So I got a phone call, and it's from a good friend over in New Jersey. And just so happens, her son-in-law was with Zach.
Oh, wow.
And he made a phone call, which is not supposed to happen, but he wanted to make sure that
yeah, I mean,
we knew.
Facts.
We knew.
Yeah.
First. So I finally questioned her. I says, is Zach okay? Because I knew something was up, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Is Zach okay? This is about 5 o'clock in the evening, our time. And so finally, she said, Ron, Zach's hurt. All right. So he said, because she asked me, where's Deb? I said, Deb's at work. So I took off to go into the Revolution Stadium to get Deb. And I'm telling you, that seemed like the longest drive from my house down to the stadium.
Oh, I bet.
So I got her. I told her, I said, Deb, we got to go. Something's not good. Something's up with Zach. So got her home, and she was just frantic. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? So I finally had to tell her.
Yeah.
And her reaction was, the first thing she did, she jumped up. She went right into the bedroom, into our safe deposit box, and she grabbed her passport. I said, what are you doing? She says, I'm going to Iraq.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my son. And trying to explain to her, now this is the shock. This is the adrenaline that was running through her at the time. Her youngest kid had just got killed.
Yeah. And
literally from there, within about 15 minutes, the casualty notification team showed up at our door.
Oh, wow.
That was, the solidification, the verification that it was really true.
Yeah,
up until now, you think, okay, something's not right. Maybe he's just hurt. Maybe he's wounded. He's going to be okay. hardest thing in life is to bury a child.
Yeah. You know, our children are supposed to,
Yes.
you know, bury us.
Exactly.
It's kind of rule.
100%. You know, we're not supposed to bury our children.
No.
You know, it's supposed to be our children that takes care of, that buries us when it's time for us to go. But this was, I'm telling you, one of the hardest things that could ever happen. Now, as a dad, as a husband, when we are raised, Rob, we were charged with one thing. You take care of your family.
Yep.
You fix everything for your family.
Yep.
And sometimes we as men, we take it too far and fix it too much when we just totally screw it up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
But as a dad, at being in that position, your family is just broken. Your family is struggling.
Yeah.
And you can't do nothing to fix it.
There's nothing to be done to fix that.
Nothing. And you talk about a horrible feeling.
It's an empty.
You lost a child.
Yep.
They lost a sibling. And you can't take their pain away.
No.
At the same time, you're dealing with all of this.
Yeah.
So, you have to keep yourself together.
You have to
for
be
your
the
family.
strong one for the family.
Yes, you have to be the strong one for your family, but at the same time, you're torn apart just as bad as they are.
Yep.
And, that was a big piece. That was a big piece with me. It really weighed on me that I couldn't take away the pain, the anger,
Yep.
and the hurt from my family. And at the same time, I had to keep all of that inside. Because, as guys, we don't typically have an outlet.
No.
Guys don't share their feelings.
No,
Guys,
we're not built that way.
no, we're not built
we're
that
not
way. You're
built that
exactly
way.
right. We're built to just take it, keep on going,
Yep.
internalize it, and move forward.
Yep.
But at the same time, that becomes a ticking time bomb.
Yep.
Because you're filled with this rage, but you can't show it.
Yep. There's nothing you can do about
Because
it.
you've got to be strong.
Yep.
It is a feeling that is just so unbelievable.
Well, I as a parent, I can't imagine what that feeling is. I mean, I've lost children of my own, but that was through something completely different. What you've lost, that's our nation's hero.
Yes.
Explain a little bit, if you can, what a Gold Star parent is for people who don't know what that represents.
Gold Star family, Gold Star parent are families that have lost their loved one on the battlefield. And it is a organization, it is a club, it is a designation that none of us want.
No.
It is, in some sense, it's like a badge that's placed on you that you're forever known as a Gold Star family.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand what
You
that
didn't ask for it.
Yeah, you didn't ask to be in this group or this club or whatever, but it was something that happened because your son, daughter, or husband, your loved one died on the battlefield. So that's a Gold Star family. That's a Gold Star parent.
Okay.
And the military has done a pretty good job of taking care of the Gold Star parents.
Okay.
Not like they should, because everything, how that goes. Everything has to go through Congress.
Everything's got to
And-
everything's got a paperwork and red tape.
And they don't get it. Congress doesn't get it, there are husbands and, there's wives out there, spouses that have lost a loved one, and they struggle to get the benefits that they're deserved
Yeah.
because of so much red tape down in D.C.
Yeah.
It is just entirely, And that kind of dovetails into another point. With Zach's unit. So Deb and I founded our foundation, the Special Zachary Clouser Foundation, and that foundation was designed to give back to the veteran community, vets that are in need, whether they're homeless. Doesn't matter. We work and partner with other organizations to get them homes, get them. We supply furniture, all their basic needs. And we do that by funds that are donated through the community, and we take that money and we in turn every bit of it goes right back out to help these veterans.
Yeah, veterans. Some come back. They can go on with a normal everyday life, and some veterans come back and it's a struggle.
That struggle is real because there was at one point, it was called 22 a day.
Yeah.
That's how many veterans we were losing to suicide. Well, that number has far surpassed that.
Absolutely.
I can tell you this, that in the 16 years that Deb and I have been involved with our foundation and in working with the unit that Zach served with, we have lost over 10.
Oh, wow.
10 soldiers to suicide.
It's 10 too many.
It's 10 too many. You're exactly right.
10 too many.
We try to reach out, and we try and keep an eye on them. When you see something going on of somebody that on social media with these soldiers, and you see them posting some strange stuff, something is up.
Yeah, something's going on.
And that is the time to reach out. We call it buddy check. Keep an eye on your buddies when if they're talking really crazy and something's out of the norm. Reach out to them.
Yeah.
We were able to save a few. One of our greatest saves was one of the vets got out and he decided to stay in Germany. He lived in Germany.
Okay.
Well, Deb helped to start what's called a call log, and it was a page on social media that had everybody that they could possibly think of that they knew on there.
Okay.
So that way they could check on each other, make sure everybody's okay. It was a common point for those soldiers to come into.
Yeah.
And
just keep in contact.
Yes.
Like you say, to make sure, hey, are you all right? You doing all right? You need anything?
And there was one soldier in Germany, and Deb watched his page, and she saw something really crazy going on, and so he wasn't responding, and he was on the verge of suicide.
Oh. Wow.
Yes, it was that bad. So Deb put out on a call log looking for somebody, if anybody was close to him, and it just so happens there was another soldier in one city over from where this the soldier in crisis was. Deb contacted the International Red Cross, the Veterans Hotline.
Yeah.
And that other soldier came into that town, got him, and was able to get him into a treatment facility.
Oh, wow.
So, that was a huge save. Sometimes we don't get that.
No.
Sometimes we get those losses.
It's late. Yep. It's an unthinkable thing that our heroes are going through and struggle. They don't know that they're going over there. Their boots hit the ground. It could be the last time their boots hit the ground.
They go over their family.
Yep.
That's their family away from home.
Yep.
Their brother, their sisters.
And that's what they know.
And when they lose someone, it's like losing. To them, that's losing a family member.
Yep.
And it really hits them hard. And PTSD is real.
Yeah.
For the longest time, the military would not recognize that as, they said, oh, it's just cowardness and stuff, and
you're a man, you're built a certain way, you're
yes.
not supposed to think this way,
And and it was frowned upon.
Yeah.
If you went to seek help, because they said, oh, that's just a sign of weakness. they had to come to realize that when this generation came back from Iraq and Afghanistan, they had a lot of problems.
Yeah, there's a lot of problems.
A lot of problems. And a lot of it was, some was self-induced, I'm not going to lie. But a lot of it were when they got back, guys that weren't married, they had girlfriends or whatever. Well, the girlfriend run off with somebody else, and a lot of it had to do with baby mama drama. Guys had children.
Yeah.
We know personally 5 that had children, and they went to call their child on their birthday or Christmas or Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And the baby mama says nope.
Huh.
And ultimately they went out and they committed suicide. And see what a lot of these women don't understand is, they think they're hurting the soldier. They're hurting that child.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, they don't understand that child is the last link that is keeping those soldiers alive.
Yeah. A lot of them, that's what's keeping them going, knowing that they're coming home.
Yes.
To see that child.
You're exactly right.
It's it all boils down to is that our children are what we fight for our survival.
Yes.
It's not, like you say, it's not supposed to be the other way around where we put them down.
I don't get it. I lived through that. I went through that with my ex and my children, and it is hard when they keep your child away from you, and all you want to do is be a part of that child's life. But they don't get it, and in the end, we lose a lot of good men and women to suicide because of this.
Yes.
And and it doesn't help that the VA is so backed up, so upside down, that vets can't get the mental health that they need. They can't get their medications. They can't get appointments on time, and they give up. They just are tired of fighting, and they just end up committing suicide. And it is a tough thing,
Yeah, it's a lot that you guys deal with on a daily basis. It's like you say, when you're asking for help, you're asking for help for a reason.
Yes.
It's not like I'm asking it just because it's available. I'm asking you for help because I need the help to continue.
Yeah.
And if I can, to them, there's only one option left.
Yeah. Exactly.
And that's not the option we want to see or hear. But I mean, it's facts. It's life.
Yes, it is so hard, and trying to explain to these families, because for the longest time there was a stigma placed upon suicide as, that's a sign of weakness. You took the easy way out, but it wasn't the easy way out for them. They in their mind, they have no other choice.
That was the last option.
That would alleviate their pain.
Yeah, and it's a sad thing to have happen. But like you say, that's their last option.
Yeah.
They don't know any other way. To ease what they're going through. That's it, and that's not. I'll never understand it because I never experienced it.
Right.
Which is why I do what I do with the Mustang. I put it out there. It's a veteran signed Mustang. If I can make a vet smile at the end of the day, that could change that vet's mind.
Yes.
Letting them know somebody still here cares for their service.
Exactly.
And what they've done and what they've gone through. And at the end of the day, that's what I want to do. Is I want to represent the vet. They've given me my freedom.
Yes.
And like I said, my goal is to, like I said, it's a veteran signed car. I'd love to go cross country with it. I've met a lot of great people in the 3 years I've been doing this.
Right.
some have been very heavy. You know, and I'm a big guy, and I'm not ashamed to sit there and say that, you know, I've fallen to the ground in tears with some of the stories that I've been told.
That's right.
But it's the stories that people need to hear so they can understand what you go through.
And you just said something very profound there, Rob, because just because the war is over, these guys and girls come back, the war is still with them.
The war has just begun.
Yes, their battle is still going on. It's raging.
They've seen stuff that us as Americans have never will never ever see. So when they come home, that for them over there in that battle, that's normalcy for them. And then they come home and it's quiet.
Yes,
that's abnormal for them.
And you know, when they come back, the families don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah,
they don't understand it.
It's a whole different world.
You know, I have a friend, and his son came back, and this friend is old school dad, and his thought process was, well, just get over whatever you're dealing with, and move on down in life. And they don't, and a lot of times families just don't understand. They don't know what they're going through. No. They don't know how to help them, and so it turns into a battle. And now that soldier gotten back from war, and their home life now is totally turned upside down because nobody understands what they're going through. Nobody can relate to what they've been through, and the only people they can turn to are their brothers and sisters that have been through it.
They've been through it. You know, and I've noticed, you know, throughout what I've been doing is that, you know, some veterans have signed the car and they're like, well, I've never done anything. I've never served in battle. But you've done more than what most. You've signed the dotted line.
Yes.
And that's you basically said that I'm here for you, for anything you need. But if they don't ever experience it, and then their child does the same thing and signs up, and then experiences that combat, it's like you say, it's hard for them to comprehend.
Yes.
You know, serving, but not a combat environment, to where you're serving in a combat environment. It's completely different.
Let me share this with you. Zach was killed July 18, 2007. He was cremated, and we kept him at home with us. So we make a determination to have him buried in Arlington in Section 60. That's what we want. We wanted him there with the rest of his brothers that he served with.
Yes.
So we go down to Arlington that Friday, spend the night. Well, go down Thursday. The service was on Friday. So we bury Arlington, Zach, and we get done. We go back. We're hanging out with family and friends. We go to bed. We get up Saturday morning. Now my phone had died overnight.
Yeah.
So I get up. I plug my phone in. There was a message on my phone Saturday morning. I had lost my nephew, a Marine, 3 tours in Iraq.
Oh wow.
To PTSD. The day after we buried Zach.
Wow. That must have been heavy.
It was.
You're there for one purpose.
Yes.
And then something else happens.
Yes.
It's rough, you know. And like I said, it's a lot of individuals don't understand. Which is, like I said, why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm trying to get your stories out there. Because at the end of the day, a lot of people don't know what you've done, what you've gone through. And yeah, I can do this with the car and you can tell me, but at the end of the day, it's not my story.
Right.
It's not my life. At the end of the day, it's your story, your life.
But that
You lived it.
You know, what you are doing is Mustang. It has drawn so much attention, and in terms of veterans seeing what you're doing and the support that you're out there, and you, because you're keeping their memories alive.
Yeah.
That's what that's all about.
It's also a sense, for me, I think it's a sense of hope for them, that they hope that what they've done wasn't for nothing.
They hope that it matters.
Yes.
Yes.
And for me, 100%. You know, people are like, oh, well, that's your car. You know, it's this, it's that. It doesn't, you know, for me, it doesn't matter. Representing what I believe in and what I stand for outweighs all of it.
You know, people are going to criticize no matter what.
Absolutely.
You could do 100 things right.
Yeah.
One person's going to come by and want to criticize you, but that's their opinion.
Yeah.
They're allowed to have that opinion, but that opinion don't matter.
You know, at the end of the day, like I said, to see a veteran smile, to see that little kid, you know, something, you know, might trigger, you know, this could be what I want to do when I grow up. You know, I've had kids sit in the car where, you know, they were so afraid, but when they sat in the seat, it's the biggest smile on their face, and that makes me happy.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I'm hoping I'm influencing them to understand what it's all about.
And see, you know, that's an amazing point, because the schools today don't teach this anymore.
No.
They don't teach history.
No.
They don't teach how we got here and where we are today.
Yeah.
The only thing it is current events, and unfortunately, a lot of families don't share this with their children. The only families that really do are families like us that have been affected, and so to speak, left behind when your loved one is killed in battle.
You know,
and at the same time, you know, it is, you know, we have to keep it in front of people to show what it represents, to show what people have gone through. And if you go back through time, we have been, as the United States, have been involved in wars forever.
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to take what we have. They don't they don't like us, but they don't want us to, because we have the freedoms to do and say pretty much anything that we want to do. I could have joined when I was younger. You know, it's an unfortunate thing that I chose a different path in my life, but my family all served. Yeah. And now I'm too old to sign the dotted line. But if they ever raise that age limit, guarantee you my name will be on that list. But you know what, Rob? There's more than one way to serve. Everybody does not see what we see as vets. Yes. When we first joined as an 18-year-old or 17-year-old, everybody doesn't see that fact that I'm going to join, I'm going to serve my country, and in return, Uncle Sam's going to give me my health care. Uncle Sam's going to give me my education. But it's not, military's not for everybody. No. You know, right now, I have a 25-year-old granddaughter in the Navy. She's a K-9 cop, and she's loving it. She is doing her thing. Yeah. And but see, there's so many different ways you can serve, because if you go back into like World War I, World War II, in the very beginning, they were not taking females. No. But the females were back home working in the factories, building munitions, building airplanes, and so forth and so on. Because there is the one famous lady, Rosie the Riveter. Yep. Rosie the Riveter. They were riveting, sheets of metal together in the airplane factories. Yep.
They wanted their men to come home.
They were just as much a part of the war, and they served. And then finally, the military opened up to where they allowed women to come in, and women were pilots. They were ferrying supplies and stuff all around, and so it's a big thing.
It's come a long way.
Yeah. You give back and you serve according to your ability.
Yeah. Like I said, it's not that I didn't want to. It's just at that point in my life, I was in a different spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wouldn't have done probably anybody any good, because I was in that spot that I was in a dark place.
Yeah.
And it's not good to join when you're in a dark place.
No, not at all. You have to be in the right space when you head off to the military. And see, I was a drill sergeant in basic training.
Okay.
So, my job was 3:00 in the morning, and see, it's designed like that for a reason. The young recruits, they fly in, they bus into that central location, and then around 3:00 in the morning, all right, it's scheduled. All right, that delivery to us as drill sergeants, that's when it happens.
Yeah.
We get them early in the morning. Now, they have been up all day with no sleep, no food, no nothing, just whatever, snacks or whatever they've done. So at 3:00 in the morning, when that bus rolls in and you get on that bus, now it's wake up time. Guys and girls, you're in the military.
Yep.
Here it goes. And it was our job to, like, that first 24 hours to get them conditioned to, like, hey, this is military life. You're not home with mom and dad anymore.
Yeah.
There's rules, there's structure, and that's when you start the weeding process. Who's gonna make it and who's not gonna make it?
Yeah.
Because some people, they may have thought it was a good idea to join the military, but once they did, they're like, oh crap.
What did I do?
What did I do?
Yep.
It's a wake-up call here.
And I'm thankful for like I said, for our men and women that sign up. Like I said, because it gives me my freedom to go do this, and to speak about it, and talk about it. While they're over there serving our country, they're not able to be out here, living a normal life. At the end of the day, that's what they signed up for. Whatever happens.
Yes, exactly. And so, and even though, there's men and women deployed all around the world right now, but most people don't know about it because it's not covered on the news.
No.
We're in some hot places.
Yep.
And so, that leads into Red Friday.
Yeah. Now, what does Red Friday represent?
Red Friday means that on Fridays we wear red. Remember everyone deployed. Those are the initials of red. And so Red Friday, that's what we do. And Deb and I came up with this campaign. It was 3 years ago. Yeah, 3 years ago.
Okay.
With Red Friday. So we printed up red t-shirts with the flag, and it says, remember everyone deployed. And that was a limited run. We were only going to do it because we started it one year at March 29th for Vietnam Veterans Day.
Yep.
And that was going to be the end of it. But it took off. And that's how we met.
Exactly how we met. You guys made me a shirt, with my car on the front of it.
Yes.
And then your red, design on the back of it. And that shirt sold like hotcakes.
Yes,
so,
it did. It did. And, here we are going on 4 years later. It is still so strong.
Yeah.
Who would imagine that a short run like that would turn into such a campaign And all the funds from that goes back into the foundation, so that we can continue to do what we do and help all of our veterans. And we literally have shipped shirts all across the country.
Yeah, and that's like you say, it's the funds aren't going towards you eating a steak dinner, a lobster dinner. The funds are going back into helping our veterans.
That's right.
That are in need of that assistance.
Dude, so I still eat bologna sandwiches. Love them. Peanut butter and jelly.
Well, you can keep the peanut butter and jelly. I was forced to eat that when I was younger, but yeah.
That's a staple for me, man. I love it. I love it,
Now you open up a can of Spam, I'm good to go.
Oh, come on now. You just hurt my feelings. No. Rob, I remember, when was it? Deb and I, in 2005, Deb and I went to Hawaii with some friends. And one of the guys that we knew lived over there. So we're talking to him, and so we went to breakfast that morning, and we went to Burger King in Hawaii. So on the menu, I'm looking, I see Spam and eggs, Spam and cheese. I'm like, what in the world? Now, if you think back, there is no native cows in Hawaii, no beef. So beef is very expensive. So my buddy says, Ron says, listen, let me tell you in depth something. My mom can show you 88 different ways to fix Spam. A Spam sandwich.
Yeah, Spam sandwich all the way. My dad was, he was born in the 30s.
Yes.
He served, it was peacetime then, and, he served 56 to 60. So, but World War II, that was what they kind of had.
Yeah.
They had cans of Spam.
Because that was a cheap meat. Because I remember when we were kids, we had it. We had to eat it, and that's when I grew to my dislike. I swore that when I became an adult, I would not partake in Spam anymore. Although I hear now that they have so many different flavors of Spam.
They got jalapeno, they got bacon, they got hickory, they got teriyaki. The sky's the limit with Spam now. So.
My buddy Bruce Coombs was telling me at the car show the other week. He says, Ron, you ain't lived until you had a Spam sandwich. I'm like, no way.
You gotta try it. The teriyaki is probably one of my favorites.
I am going to break down, and I'm going to go buy a couple of different flavors, and I'm going to give it a try. Because what was it? Was it last year? Last year in June, for the first time, even though I've lived in York for 30 plus years, I've never been to Reading to the air show.
Yeah.
The Reading Air Show.
I've been wanting to go to that.
Oh man, well we're gonna have to hook up and go.
Oh yeah. I think that's next weekend, isn't it?
Is it the first week in June?
I think it's the first.
I know it's coming up soon.
Yeah.
But you're wandering around, and they got all these historic planes and everything. It is just amazing out there.
Yeah.
Because I rode my bike up. Great day at Harley, and so you're wandering around. They got all these vendors selling hot dogs and burgers and all this stuff. And so you go around the corner, and they had this big speaker. They were announcing, so their lunch will be served in the mess hall, so forth and so on. So a typical mess hall for the military, for the Army, is a big canvas tent and so forth and so on. I roll over there and I look on there, Spam. See, because the whole theme of the World War I and II days is back in those days. That's what the meal was.
Yeah.
In the military.
Yeah. You had a can of crackers and a can of Spam. So, you got to try it though. If you eat the Spam, you get the Spam and you put it in some macaroni and cheese. A little Spam surprise.
You're kidding me.
It's
Rob, don't invite me for dinner, brother.
Well, I like to smoke meat, the food now. So, I smoked the ham last night.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
So, I'm venturing into different things.
Different cuisines.
I like to cook.
Yeah.
I like to cook. As you can tell.
I do too. And I remember my grandmother told me, when I was young, she said, son, come on in this kitchen with me. I'm going to teach you how to cook. Because one of these days, you might meet a woman that can't cook. So that was my venture into cooking and learning how to cook. She made sure that her grandsons were self-supported, that they could go out there and cook. And I'm telling you, myself and my brother, oh my gosh, he's a chef.
Yeah.
They throw down, and you know, the smoking of the meats and so forth and so on. And you know, I do the same. I just now bought me I just bought a Traeger. So I caught it on sale.
Smart.
So that's why I bought it. It was on sale, and it was a deep discount. And so I haven't used it yet. I got it seasoned. So now that the weather's cleared up, I want to jump into smoking some meats.
Yeah, it's if you got a grill too, you can get one of those little smokestacks.
Yeah.
And put the pellets in the smoker.
Okay.
Don't turn the grill on. Actually put pieces of cheese, and then you can smoke some cheese.
I have a good friend that smokes cheese, and it is delicious.
It's a whole different level.
You know, because I'm wondering. I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, you got to smoke cheese. Normally, smoking requires heat.
Yep.
So if you got hot heat smoking cheese, it's going to melt. But then he says, no, Ron, it's a cold smoke.
Yep, it's a cold smoke. Yep. Yeah, you get those little tubes and you put the pellets in there, and that's what smokes. You just close the lid and
wow,
let it do its job.
So yeah, me and my Traeger are going to experiment.
Start off with your chickens and porks first.
The easy stuff.
Yeah, because if you spend $100 on a brisket, it'll ruin like that.
No.
You're like, okay, well, I'm not doing that ever again.
No. I see so many people that, I mean, when their brisket is done, man, it's like butter.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to get to that point where that's my ultimate goal in smoking, because I've smoked chickens before.
Yep.
I have smoked turkey before and sausage and stuff like that. But I did a brisket. Let's just say it was tolerable. it was tolerable. You know, it's I love cooking.
Oh, absolutely.
And Deb and I used to. She was an excellent cook. Oh my goodness! Her mother taught her, because her mother was a home ec teacher.
Okay.
That's what she went to college for. So being in the family, our daughter had to learn how to cook.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, she when we met, she says, you know, you're awful skinny. She says, you need some meat on your bones. And she started cooking for me, Rob, and I'm telling you, it was just amazing. You know, I miss her dearly. You know, I lost her October 14th of last year, 2023.
Yeah,
Just a total surprise.
I was blown away when I heard what had happened. She was a great woman, you know. When I met her.
It's like when you meet Deb, it kind of sucked you in.
Yeah.
That smile, that personality.
Yeah, it was.
And she was a straight shooter. She was straight up with you. She didn't take any crap from anybody. And she told it like it was.
Nope, I learned the hard way. I learned the hard way. She's like, no, we're not doing it this way. This is how we're going to do it.
She had a plan, man, I'm telling you. And that's just who she was. The greatest lady. You know, when we started this foundation, we built this foundation so that we were building a legacy for Zach.
Yeah.
That was our purpose. But what I realized after her death, Deb's legacy was all over that. She's forever ingrained in this foundation.
Absolutely.
And what she did. Because see, that was her, when Zach was killed, that foundation was for her reason to get out of bed every day.
Yep, that was her focus and her comfort.
Yes.
That was her comfort spot.
It was. And she was the type of person, and her mission that if someone told her no, she's gonna figure out a way around it and make it happen. And that's what she did. You know, it was such a blessing for me to have 31 years with her.
Yeah.
And we were two peas in a pod, where one went the other way. We did everything together. We just had that type of relationship. We had that type of love for each other and that respect. And it was just, you know, we had our own time. I had my space and she had her own time. And when she needed to go play bingo or whatever, it's like, all right, roll, you roll. Because, you know, what a lot of people forget is when you become a couple, you had a life before.
Yeah.
And a lot of, sometimes I think that's where a lot of marriages go wrong at. They try and change you. They want you to become it with them, and they forget that you have your own likes and dislikes and stuff like that, you know. So we were never like that early on in that one, because we dated for 7 years before we got married.
Oh, wow, okay.
I wanted to make sure it was right.
It was the right way.
Because I had been down that road before.
Yeah.
We both had.
Yep.
And it was just great. And I remember how I proposed to her. She had took the kids and went to Disney. Because, matter of fact, her parents had retired and moved to Florida. So she went to Disney. She visited with her parents and stuff. So back in the day, I had an old computer. This one of the monitors were either green or yellow, the CRTs.
Yeah.
So I got on there and I typed out in a scrolling fashion, "Will you marry me?" And the computer was in the bedroom. So when she came home and she's unpacking and stuff, and she looked over at the computer, and I wasn't even in the room. I had left the room, you know, and she yelled out, "Oh my gosh." I come running. I'm like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" And she looked at me and she said, "Yes, I'll marry you."
Yeah.
So, but what a wonderful lady, and I miss her dearly every single day. You know, she taught me so much, and
that was your rock.
That was my rock, my ride or die.
Yep.
And my daughter told me after the funeral, she says, "Dad," she says, "Mom left you with everything you need to survive."
Yep, to keep it going.
The messages, the things, the way she did things. And, you know, some days to me it didn't make sense, but I did.
That's what a good woman does, though. A good woman will sit there and set us up.
Yes.
Because we can't do it on our own.
We're too dumb to do it.
It takes that good woman to put us in our place.
We are stupid with it. You know, we had this thing. It was called left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
I'm left brain. She's right. She was right brain. So left brain, spontaneous. Left brain, go to a Harley shop. New Harley, I want it.
Yep.
I'm making enough money. I can afford it. I'm getting it. I work hard. I don't blow money.
Yep.
But so that's left brain. Right brain says, "Oh, slow down. Think about this." She didn't shut me off. She didn't say, "No, you ain't getting it," or nothing like that.
Yeah.
She just says, let's think about this. She wanted to be a part of that process. Because I remember the day, Rob, we got our first Harley. It was in the wintertime. We were just looking around because I was riding a Honda Shadow.
Okay.
At 1100. So we rolled out the Battlefield Harley. I had called them and says, "Hey, yada yada yada," talked to them a little bit. They said, "Okay, bring your other bike out and we'll take a look at it." So loaded in the trailer, off we go. We get out there, she hops out of the truck. I'm parking the trailer and stuff, and I get inside, and she's sitting on this bike, and she says, "This one."
I can picture it though.
She's sitting on this bike, and she says, "This one." It was a copper and black anniversary 08 edition, limited edition Harley Davidson. She says, "That's the one." And so I looked at it. We rolled through it, and so then we went and did the financing, and I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
Because see, what led up to that was just that summer, that fall, we had went to Ocean City
Okay.
to Bike Week.
Like, yep.
And so we spent the week down there. We palled around. We rode my Honda Shadow down, and we had a great time.
Yeah.
So on the way back, that Sunday, I'm just cruising, coming home, you know. And she's on the back, and so she leans up. She says, "Listen, sweetheart," she says, "I had a fantastic time this week down in Ocean City." She said, "But if you don't have a better bike next year, you can go by yourself." So I'm imagine this. I'm riding my bike, and I'm like, I didn't even turn around. Who sat behind me? So my brain, now here's left brain. Left brain's thinking, oh my gosh, she just gave me a week in Ocean City by myself. That was the first thing I thought about.
Yeah.
But then the other side of my brain quickly kick in and says, hey, fool, she just gave you the green light to upgrade to a better bike.
Yep. So you kind of had the best of both brains right there.
Oh man, I'm telling you. So that was left brain and right brain. And I mean, that stuck with us forever because we would always kid each other. I'd say something or whatever, and she said, all right, left brain. So it was quite comical, but that's just how we rolled.
Yeah.
We didn't go to bed mad. We made a point. I don't care what happened, how upset each one of us was over something trivial or whatever. We did not go to bed mad.
Yeah.
We always said, and before we went to bed, I love you.
You know, it's funny you say that, because me and my wife, we sat there, you know, for a while with a World War II vet and his wife. They were married 74 years.
Wow.
And they were always so happy. Always so happy together. You know, if he went, where did he go? If she went, where did he go? And like how could you always be 74 years and always be so happy with each other?
Yes.
And they said to us, we never went to bed mad at each other.
I'm telling you, brother.
We always said,
yes,
we're sorry.
Yes.
Kissed.
Yes.
And said, I love you.
Yes.
And then woke up the next day, you might have had that lingering issue, but you talked it out, you worked it out, and you went through it.
Exactly.
But that's what makes a marriage last for 74 years.
Exactly. I could get up in the morning and I'm expecting her to be livid with me.
Yeah.
But I'd walk out, she'd look at me and smile. She'd say, good morning, sweetheart. I love you. You want coffee?
Yeah.
And so that was, and we lived by that.
Yeah.
That's how we lived, truly. And for 31 years, it was great. Now, don't get me wrong. There was a lot of tough times when we were younger, and with the two-family household. So when our kids would go with their mother or dad,
yeah,
you know, then they come back. Of course, now that brings issues because this happened, that happened, or they come back with an attitude. So now you got to try and fix this all over again. So, but as we got older and more wiser, we both learned how to deal with that, you know. But that is a true statement. That veteran and his wife of 74 years, you know, that is a true statement. You know, I preach that to my kids now. Do not go to bed mad.
No, it's
because make it right. Because one thing for sure, Rob, tomorrow is not promised to anybody.
No, it's not. It's definitely not.
And you can't go to bed waking up, well, with regrets. I wish I had it. I wish I had said some better words, or I wish I hadn't parted with this attitude. And because wishes after the fact can't do you any good.
Yep. You know, what's the old saying is you can wish in one hand and you can crab in another.
And see which one's going to fill up first.
You know, it's that World War II vet, you know, we went what, once a week to go hang out with them.
Yeah.
Me and my wife. And we got to know them very, very well. I did an interview with him, because I just wanted to know more about his life.
And
that's a World War II vet, our greatest generation.
They lived the greatest generation there was. At 13 and 15 and 17, they lied about their age so they could go serve their country.
Yep.
And see, back then, whole families would go.
Yep.
Brothers gone off to the military. Because we had a really good friend. I met a gentleman, and him and his 5 brothers all went to the military, and they all in different branches, and they all ended up being pilots.
Okay.
And this guy was he was the last surviving brother, and he was 97.
Wow.
So we got to meet one year at the Memorial Day service that's held in York every year out at the Gold Star Healing Garden.
Okay.
We met this veteran, and we walked up and we saw him sitting there, but we saw this other guy sitting beside him in a World War II uniform.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the World War II soldier was Robert Bush. And at the time, the other guy that we met, John, the first words when we met John was, he says, we thanked him for his service, and he says, I'm old. He was, see that guy sitting next to me? He's just decrepit. Now, that at the time, that was a 99-year-old talking to a 100-year-old vet.
Oh wow.
So yeah, they lived to be John. When he passed away, he was 104.
Wow.
And I think, if I remember correctly, Robert was 105. And we used to go to John's house and sit down. He was a Navy vet, and his wife had passed on quite a few years ago, and his house was just immaculate, like no one lived in it. Beautiful. So we'd sit, and he would start to talk to us about what he used to do in the Navy. He was a quartermaster in the Navy, and he shared, because I was interested, like you said, in his personal life, because I wanted to know what their life was like back in that time.
Yeah.
And he shared everything with me, and it was just amazing to listen to them. And he'd go in, he'd pull out his photos from his days in the Navy. And but as it turned out, John not only was in World War II, he was also in Vietnam.
Oh wow.
Yes, he did. He was in both wars there. So it was just so much history, and to listen to the people of that generation, it's just so amazing.
Yeah, it's when you sit down and you start to get into that era.
Yes.
In time, it just blows your mind. It's like you sit there and say, these guys, 16 years old, lying about their ages because they knew what was happening was wrong.
Yes.
And it was happening on our own soil. And it was time to, a lot of people don't realize that we were not a part of that war up until that happened in Pearl Harbor.
Yes. And Robert Bush, we got to know him, and we're talking. Robert was a half-track driver for General Patton. And Robert says, I hated that man. I said, why? He said, because he would ride around his Jeep, and he would make us follow, because Robert was a driver and a mechanic. He would make us follow him in that half-track, but he never got into half-track.
It's funny that you say that the World War II vet that me and the wife got to know real well. He was a part of the 8th Armored Division.
Okay. Yeah, 8th Armored.
And,
yes.
He was one of the guys supplying the half tracks.
Yeah.
And then he was supplying the tanks with the ammunition.
Yeah.
So it's funny that you talk about your guy there, you know, being the half-track driver. He could have been the guy that was driving the World War II vet that I know around.
And, you know, that's the thing. You're good. Just stay in this lane. That's just the way it was. Those days, you know, just listen to them when he says, I was Patton's driver of his half-track.
Wow.
You're talking about a walk back in time in history.
Yeah.
You're truly sitting with a piece of genuine history.
Yeah.
Listening to them talk and tell how things were.
Yeah, it's an amazing, you know, it doesn't matter what goes on in the world today. History is history for a reason.
Yes.
It happened. That's why it's called history.
And you can't change history.
You can't.
But the only thing you can do is rewrite the future.
Yep.
And I think that's where things have gone wrong now, is a lot of people are trying to erase history.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up during a time, I was born in North Carolina.
Ooh.
Yes, I grew up in a time where racism was huge. I mean, you lived it every single day.
Yep.
And where we lived at as a black kid, a black family, we go into town. The town was segregated.
Yeah.
You know, whites on this side of the street, coloreds on this side. That's what they call it back then.
Yep.
Whites on this side, coloreds. Public water fountains. Whites over here, colors over here. You better not get caught drinking out of. We couldn't go to restaurants or public restaurants. If there happened to be a place to eat that was owned by a black family, then you were welcome in.
Yeah.
And even the drugstore. I'll go back as far as the drugstore. I can remember when there was times when, you know, my mom, we would go into town and she would say, okay, hey, because I was the oldest boy, she'd hand me a list, says, I need you to go to the drugstore and pick this prescription up for me from her doctor. Well, I couldn't go in the front door. There was a side door. Had to go around to the side door.
Wow.
And you ring that bell, people would come to the window, they peep the curtain open, they see you standing there, they turn around and walk away.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it's sad.
we lived it.
Still goes on today.
And see, that's what hurts me so bad. We are going back to the 60s in terms of racial divide, and the world is just hurting right now. And the thing is, people are so in your face with it now.
Yeah.
They don't care. It used to be forbidden, and you know, the world was getting along, and everybody was just kind of coexisting. Now it has just come back in a bad way. And you know, and I share this with my children, and they look at me and say, well, Dad, you're not that old. No, I'm not. We lived that. That's what I like back. You know, I can remember times, see, the Ku Klux Klan was very just out there down south.
Yeah.
And they were tormenting and just ripping people's black families' lives apart. And they burned crosses in the yards, and it was just horrible. If you saw a truck or something coming down the dirt road or whatever with the Confederate flag on there, man, we were taught to duck and run because you didn't know if you were going to disappear or not.
Yeah, it was a sad time.
Yeah,
you know, and it gets back to the whole history part. You can't get rid of it.
No.
You're going to repeat exactly the same things that have happened already.
Yeah.
So why try to get rid of it? You're not getting any better.
And you know, and it's like they're trying to erase what was there. Sure, history was history. Some of the things were good. A lot of things were bad.
Yep.
And I think that's what people are trying to do, is cover up the things that happened that was bad, because they don't want their kids to really know the truth.
Yeah. You know, it's when you see social media now, you know, and I read a lot of stuff, and a lot of people sit there and they're like, do we need another incident on U.S. goal as a country to do.
Oh my gosh, no.
Because everybody loved one another.
9/11 solidified and brought this country together.
Yeah.
More, I mean, it was a sad day when that happened.
Yeah.
My heart sank to the ground.
Yeah,
I was at work. I was at work, and it brought the country together because that was a sense of time of need. We saw our own country attacked by foreign terrorists.
Yeah, and it's like to say it was the modern day Pearl Harbor.
Yes, it was.
Look, we weren't, like I said, we weren't a part of World War II until Pearl Harbor. We were involved in other things, but 9/11 took us to a whole different level.
It did. And the internet is good. The internet was a great thing because we had the internet in the military before the public even had it.
Yeah.
And so when the internet first came out, it was really good. But now also the internet has become a tool for all the hate.
Yeah.
And people can sit behind their computers and just spew garbage and lies and just wreak havoc on other people's lives. And so that has become a real detriment to society.
Yeah.
Because that spawned bullying. When we were children, if there was somebody you didn't like or it got that bad, you had a fist fight. And it's all over with. It's done.
Yeah.
You may win, you may lose, but at the end of the day, you were okay.
Sometimes that was your best friend for life.
Yes. Now everybody has it has become a war now with these kids. You disrespect me, now I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
They have no value of life, but then they don't realize it the moment they pull that trigger, they just ended their lives.
Yeah.
And they also just shattered the lives of their family.
It's like that's the quickest way to end a dispute now is just go in and just shoot somebody.
Yep.
No,
it is sad.
Yeah, you might have ended that life, but like you said, you just physically ended yours.
We had bullies in high school, because I'm not going to lie, my freshman year in high school, my sister and I and another family, brother and sister, were the first to integrate an all-white high school down south.
Oh, wow.
So it was like World War III every day of survival. You had to fight in order to
just get through the day.
To survive. Because if you did not, you would have been pumped and you would be beaten every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's a whole different world right now. Social media is good, but also it has turned into a monster.
Yeah, it's a weapon of its own. At the end of the day, some good, some bad.
Yep.
Some of it's untrue, some of it's true. So
let's take I-95 south and Baltimore Washington Parkway south. Continue straight for 10 minutes to I-95, I-495 south toward Washington, Richmond.
Yeah,
construction on road ahead.
I don't agree with a lot that's going on right now, and but we have the power to change things.
yes.
If we truly want change, or we could just sit back and say, my vote don't count.
Yeah.
And then we end up with what we end up with, and we end up in a worse situation we're in right now. I don't agree with a lot of things, but the one thing I do believe in, I am going to do my part. I'm going to exercise my right to vote for whoever I want to, and I'm not going to be intimidated by it.
No, absolutely not. At the end of the day, for me at least, I don't care if you sit on the left, I don't care if you sit on the right. My opinion is for me. You can spew whatever you want out. end of the day, I'm still going to make my choice. So that's what makes me an American.
That's right. You know,
So
that is so right. You know,
and I don't, your opinions are your opinions.
yes,
That doesn't mean I should hate you anymore.
that's right. You know, it is. I don't know what to say anymore. But you know, in my life now, my mission now is to continue what Deb and I started 16 years ago. Continue to drive forward, to continue to help our veterans.
Yeah, this is, like I said, at the end of the day, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I want to make people aware of what should matter.
Yes.
And our veterans should matter. Our veterans have given us what we have. So why should we forget what they've done?
You know, I had a thought. Was it last year? Last year, I created a new shirt, and I have it on now. One I have on. It says the true meaning of Memorial Day.
Yeah.
And that hit so powerful. I came up with that because I see so many people see Memorial Day. It's a day off. It's a day for picnics and partying and whatever.
It's a 3-day
That's
weekend.
okay. That's okay to enjoy those, but take a moment, and please take a moment and remember what this day is all about. Remember how we got here. Remember the fallen soldiers and sailors and airmen and Marines that gave their lives so that we can have that right to have this day.
Yeah, it's gentlemen like Zachary, Trent,
Yes.
Bennett, this is Keith Bennett, their family gave me one of his dog tags, and he was in a suicide bombing over there, and they handed that to me at an event, and that has yet to come out of this car. Everything that goes with this car has been given to me. I have not bought stuff to put it on display.
Yeah.
It's pieces that have been given to me by the individuals themselves to honor them and remember them.
Yes.
And that's, at the end of the day, it's like you say, Zachary, Trent, Keith. It's why Memorial Day is Memorial Day.
That's right.
We are to
And
remember. It's to honor their memory and their sacrifice.
Trent Grove was home on leave, and a drunk driver took him out, and he died. That is a tragic loss, without a doubt.
Yeah.
His mother, Rhonda, oh my gosh, she's a powerhouse, isn't she?
Oh, absolutely.
I love her to death.
Rhonda is
she's a special lady.
Very special lady.
I was so glad when her and my wife hooked up. They were, that's a powerhouse right there.
Yeah.
Because they didn't take no for an answer. They knew what needed to be done. And they're out to support the veteran community. And they don't take no for an answer.
Ron is also the reason we met.
That's right. You're exactly right. And I believe that things happen for a reason.
Yes.
And see, because Rhonda brought Deb and I into the car scene. We I love cars and stuff. I admire them, but I was not a part of the car club car community.
Yeah.
Well, when Rhonda invited us to her event to set up our foundation table, man, it opened my eyes. Here is a total group, another group of individuals, car owners, enthusiasts, that have a passion for giving back to the veteran community.
Yeah. powerhouse.
Yes.
You know, the Gold Star mothers are just powerhouses. You know, giving back, it's nobody's asking for anything.
And, you know,
Just to sit there and talk to a vet.
yeah.
Could be giving back to what that vet's looking for. It could be looking for a shoulder to talk to.
You know, because the only thing that they want to know and understand is that, hey, my life matters.
Yeah.
And when you reach out and you pick a veteran up and shake their hand or buy them dinner or whatever, it's not a handout. It is a hand up.
Yeah.
Because they earned that.
Yeah.
And we just want them to understand that your life matters to me.
Absolutely. And as well, it should each and every one of us Americans. A vet did something with their life that we should be thanking them for. So to buy them a cup of coffee, you're going to, you know, okay, skip the Starbucks coffee that day.
Yeah.
And just get a McDonald's coffee.
That's right.
And there's a veteran standing next to you. There's your Starbucks payment right there.
That's right.
You know, 2 cups of coffee equals 1, but you're giving something to a veteran that could have started out his day.
Yeah.
It could have been a bad day. And knowing that somebody gave him a cup of coffee could lift him up.
Yes, sir. All day, every day. You know, just that little gesture
Yeah.
that brightens someone's day, you know. Deb and I, we would go eat dinner, and if we see, you know, you'd see a proud old school World War II Vietnam veteran and his family come in and eat, and we would call their waiter and pick up their tab.
Yep.
And just walk away. Don't say anything, you know. And it's a good feeling to be, and that's not showing off or saying that, oh wow, man, I can do this or whatever. No, you're doing this from the heart.
Yeah.
Because this is what you want to do. You want to do something nice for that veteran to brighten their day up, because you never know what the next person is going through.
Yeah. You know, you did something nice there, they could walk out that door and then somebody spit right in their face.
Oh, that's right.
You know.
Exactly, because that happens more times than any, because you know people become so boisterous. And if you go back to the Vietnam War, when they were treated like garbage.
Yes.
They were totally treated like garbage because they're all baby killers and yada yada yada.
Yep.
The hippie generation, they didn't understand, and they were, you know, they put their life on the line out there. And but see, so many people don't understand that if our military did not go to war, we could be speaking a whole different language.
Absolutely.
Not English.
You know, it's not that too. Is that it was a draft.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice.
So you were forced to go and do something you did not want to do. I mean, I've had individuals sit there, you know, a Vietnam guy, he broke down, he's like, thank you for what you're doing. It makes me thankful that I did something. He said, because when I came home and I got off that plane, just walking through the airport, somebody spit in my face and called me a baby killer.
Yeah.
I didn't choose to live that way.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, I didn't choose to go to war. I signed up to be a priest. You know, that's what I wanted to do with my life. I wanted to be a preacher. You know, and I was drafted, and then I had to go do things that were unthinkable, things that I did not choose to do.
Yeah.
But I was ordered to do. You know, war is, you know, you go over there, it's shoot or be shot. You know, and it's a disgusting way to think.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was so glad that Harold Redding, a Vietnam veteran, he went to battle, and he fought, and he fought, and he fought with Congress to get Vietnam Veterans Day made into a federal recognized by that gesture of what he did, that becoming a federal day, a federal recognized day, that put so much pride back into the Vietnam veterans. That, you know, where they were trained, they were made to feel like they were nothing. They were less than. Like you said, they were spit upon when they came back, and that's all true. So true. It's not lies. That is so true. That's how they were treated when they came back home from Vietnam, as baby killers and all of this stuff. And they had no choice because they were drafted. They had to go. It's not like you were given a choice like today's Army is you volunteer to go and serve.
And that, you know, like when you say the draft, you know, it was a lottery. You were basically you were a number. So you know, I have a lot of there's a lot of signatures that are on this car, and not since day one have I ever counted how many are on this car. A lot of people ask, "Oh, how many signatures do you have?" And I'm like, I couldn't tell you. I've never counted. Why? And it brings me right back to the Vietnam era.
Yes, it does.
You were drafted as a number. Me putting a number to that signature is treating them how they were treated back then. And I said, I can't do that by any means. I will never put a number to a veteran because it's treating them as a number. And it's in my eyes, it's not right. But at that time, you know, that was, you know, we needed, like you say, if it wasn't done a certain way, we could be speaking a whole different language.
That's right. That's right.
So,
you know, see, that's not taught anymore in school, because when budgets come around for schools, they cut this, they cut history out. So our students today are not getting the education about what the world is really like. You know, I have a grandson that's graduating next week, and I could question him right now. I guarantee you, he would not know half of the history that we're talking about. Because they don't teach it anymore.
And that's the sad part. It's, you know, I remember growing up, I didn't like school. I didn't go to school a lot, you know, but I'm so involved in wanting to know about our past and history. Because it's there. Why not learn from it? So, you know, for me, I really enjoy sitting down. I remember sitting in my dad's lap, you know, watching war movies growing up, sitting in his lap, John Wayne, you know, watching those westerns.
That was the thing.
Like that, you know.
I love them to this day. I love the westerns, man. It takes me back to my childhood, because that's what was on TVs on Saturday mornings, cartoons and westerns in the afternoon. And that's what we grew up with. Maybe we should bring cartoons back. A little Bugs Bunny never hurt nobody. Oh man, what you talking about? You know. So Wile E. Coyote. The Roadrunner. You know, and that's when TV was TV. TV was wholesome. It was great. You know, you didn't have all the killings, and we didn't have all the killings and stuff, you know, that were going on. And you know, families could put their kids in front of the TV and know that they were going to be okay. And you know, now TV has gone to well, families are raised now by video.
Absolutely.
I call them thumb babies, because everybody's
got it.
Yes, everybody has a game. You know, like my son, he was telling his kids one day. He said, "Look, when I was your age, I didn't have a PS3. He said I had a PS tree. That means outside playing."
this is so, the world has changed. You know, the phones are, you know, like social media, computer technology, everything's taking control
Yeah.
of just going outside and having a good time.
Yeah.
You know, just go outside, hit the ball, throw the ball, go play basketball.
When Deb was still here with us, we started this thing, you know, because we know that life is busy. Our kids have busy lives.
Yeah.
But we said once a month, I want you guys to come over and we're going to have a family dinner.
Yeah.
And during that time when we are there are no cell phones. They either go in your pocket or Deb had a basket, put them in there.
Yeah.
Because that was a time for family communication.
Yep.
And not everybody sitting there glued to social media or YouTube or whatever else they're doing, you know. It was a time to just socialize, and so that way our grandkids got to know who their cousins were.
Yeah.
And they could interact. Because if, you know, remember back in the day, Grandma was a glue, in the old days, Grandma was a glue of the family.
Yep.
Grandma kept everybody straight. Grandma paddled everybody. She made sure everybody was fed because they cooked fantastic. And on Sundays, the family was together as a unit.
Yeah.
Now, families are so far apart, and a lot of times families don't talk, or families have problems, and they don't get it.
No.
That one day that parent or that grandparent will not be around anymore.
Yeah. You know, it's just like I said too, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. You know, I didn't have the glorious life. You know, I lived life.
Yeah.
You know, and I've done things that, you know, I ain't proud of, but that's life. But now I'm getting older, and on my way out, I want to be remembered for doing something right.
Yeah. I get it.
When I'm not here, you know, the car will still be here.
Yes.
And my kids know to continue what I've begun.
Yes.
You know, it's our veterans, for me, are very important.
You know, and you know that's where Deb and I were. We have built this foundation to a point to where it has now become a monster.
Yeah.
It's huge. The things that we can do, and we want our children to be able to take it over and continue to do what we do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'll tell you this: it has to be in your heart
Yeah.
to do what we do. It has
Exactly.
to be deep in your heart. It can't be about vanity.
Nope.
I'm doing something good and yada yada yada. No. What we get out of what we do every day in life with our foundation and what you do with the car is we go to sleep at night. We can go to bed with a smile on our face.
Yeah.
Because we know we made a difference in somebody's life. And I don't need a pat on the back
Nope.
or nothing like that. It's just the fact that we know that our mission, we're making someone else's life better.
Yeah. It's at the end, it all boils down to I did something positive for someone else.
Yes. And you know, my dad used to tell us, he says, listen, he says, you were not put on this earth to just take. My dad was a minister.
Yeah.
But look at me. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Me, a minister's child.
Yeah.
But, and it was so true with him. You know, he says, you were not put on this earth to just take.
Yeah.
You need to make a decision to give back to society, give back and help make someone else's day
Yeah.
better. And, you know, I didn't really understand that or take that to heart until we lost our child in war.
Yeah.
Then it really began to sink in.
Yeah, things are, like you say, things happen for reasons.
Yes, they do.
You know, my saying, you know, I even tell my wife, the book is already written. Your life has already been put on paper.
Yes.
You're living what's put on paper. You can either make it last or, you know, end that chapter.
Yeah.
You know, it's at the end. At the end, well, you know, I want to know that my chapter was written for a purpose.
Yes. You know, I look at Deb's life, and she has a legacy, and that legacy is strong.
Oh, yeah.
I did not realize until her death how many lives that we have touched. And then it comes back into you, and you really understand, you know, what you've done and the mission you've been on. It's just been so great because there's a lot of things that are bigger than us.
Yes.
And that's how you have to look at it. You know, this is bigger than me, and you just drive forward every day. And
it's just like you said, that foundation kept her strong.
It did.
And kept her going.
that was her lifeblood. That was her connection to Zach
Yep.
and her baby, and to keep that alive and going. It was everything to her, and that's what we did. That's who we were. We lived and breathed it every single day, you know. And I thank God for the time that I had with her, because she made me a better person. You know, it's so easy to question why.
Yep.
But we know the answer is there is no answer. When God's ready for you, He's ready for you.
Yep. You know, the saying goes is the moment you stop saying those names
They die again.
is when they die again.
That's right. And that is a promise we made,
So
that as long as, and that's what our motto is, or our foundation. As long as I breathe, you will always be remembered.
yep.
And that's the way we wanted it for Zach, and also now Deb. I'm going to keep representing, keep doing what I do. You know, Rob, I'm going to tell you what was such a good feeling. You know, it was brought to me that there was this other organization, a construction company, trying to help a veteran. And the veteran has ALS.
Okay.
A very debilitating disease, and affects the muscles really bad. So he's pretty much resigned to a wheelchair. And his wheelchair would not fit in his bathroom.
Oh.
So my foundation was able to write a check to that construction company so that he could get an ADA compliant bathroom.
Oh wow.
This was back in February. So that's the power of what we do with the donations that we receive. Because a lot of people say, well, you guys are raising money, what do you do with it? Hey, we can show you every day
Yeah.
what we do. And we do stuff like that, you know, without a second thought. You know, this veteran needs, we're going to get it done. Now, they could have went through the VA, but it is such a long list of paperwork and backlog just to get anything done. It's crazy. So that's why we stepped up as a foundation and made that happen for that vet. So now his wheelchair can roll right into his bathroom. It can roll right into his shower.
Wow.
The toilet is ADA compliant height, so when he gets out of his wheelchair, he can get right onto it. His vanity, he can roll his wheelchair right up underneath of it.
Wow.
That's the work that we do. It's not bragging. It's just pure facts of what we do. When people see us out there asking for help, asking for donations, that's what those donations go to.
Yeah.
Because we're not one to out there and brag, well, we did this and we need that.
Yeah.
On our foundation page, we will post photos of what we do because that way people can see the photos, so forth and so on.
Okay.
And those photo servers are a reminder to people, okay, this is real. This is what these people are doing. Because there was so many people out there that started foundations and doing this. They were raising money, but they were pocketing the money.
Yeah.
So it gave foundations like us a bad name. You know, we started from mere beginnings. When we started our foundation, at the time my one daughter owned a hair salon. So she would have cut-a-thons on a Saturday, and all the proceeds from the cut-a-thon came to us.
Okay.
Came back to the foundation. My wife and I started making soy candles. That's how we raised money.
Yeah.
My wife started making, in the fall, she would make what some people call Buckeyes, peanut butter balls.
Oh, okay.
We later dubbed them bitch balls because of my oldest daughter. She flipped out one day, you know, because mom gave her some peanut butter balls, but she didn't give her what she wanted. Deb says, nope, I got to save some of these for my friends. Well, my daughter yelled, I spouted out, well, you care more about your friends than you do me. So we dubbed those peanut butter balls bitch balls.
Oh, it's funny.
So that's how it got its name.
And they probably sold well too.
Well, they did. Oh my gosh, they were so good. She had a knack for it.
Yeah.
And she got it really down pat, and they sold like crazy. And they were sold for like $8 a dozen.
Okay.
And, so that was but those are things that we did, thinking out of the box to be able to raise money back in the early days before we had people donate to us. So that's how we got started, and then finally in 2014, we had raised enough money for the attorney fees and everything to get our 501c3 designation from the IRS.
Yeah.
Stating a right to exit 1BC, I-695 to I-295 downtown.
Yeah, and that's one of the things like with the car. You know, it's our veterans are everywhere in the U.S.
Yeah.
You know, I'd love to bring this to them, you know, and just go across country, you know, and talk to all of our vets. And everybody's like, oh yeah, come on out here, come on out there, you know,
But at the same time, for you to do that, it takes funds to get there.
And I've been doing this for 3 years.
Yes.
You know, and this, I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. This is all me. You know, I do this, you know, because it's me getting out there, giving back, and feeling damn good about giving back to what I give back. You know, but you know, it is consuming, very consuming, and I mean, I don't want to change anything, but I would enjoy taking this car on trips cross country to speak to all of our vets.
And you know, and what I'm going to say to that is, you know, when this airs, I am going to ask people if you like what we're doing here, what is happening today, what Rob has started with his car. Donations are kindly accepted to help him fulfill the mission and continue what he's doing and lifting up veterans and bringing this car to life. That's what this car represents: the soldiers, the sailors, the Marine Corps.
You know, our Air Force.
Yes.
You know, our space. You know, our Space Force. You know, yeah, it's a thing now. You know.
Yes, it is.
You know, what I say to this is that, you know, hit that subscribe button. Subscribe to this channel. Spread the word. You know, I'd love to travel cross country with this car, and just shooting the crap.
And to those that are listening, if you are a veteran, you have a story, and you want to sit down with Rob and tell your story, get in touch with him. Reach out, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button to this channel, and let us hear your story out there.
Yeah.
And let us know where you came from and where you went to in life with the military. And if it's just a fun adventure,
yeah,
to be able to share your story, to get it out there so people know who you are and what you were about and what you did, because everybody has a story to tell.
Yeah, especially the vets. You know, you vets have been a lot of places, and your story needs to be told. And it would be my honor to tell your story and to have people listen to your story.
You know, when I entered the military in 1973, you know, I actually thought that at that point I was going to be going to Vietnam. But upon my graduation and stuff, the Vietnam War was tailing down, and they stopped sending soldiers over. So my first assignment was I was sent to the DMZ in Korea. So people in this area. So by the way, we're on a road trip today. We're heading to Arlington Cemetery, Arlington National Cemetery. Rob has never been. That's where my son is, and we're going down to pay our respects, and we're going to tour. I'm going to show him around. If you've never been to Arlington or any of our other national cemeteries, it is worth the trip. But Arlington is special. It's different. There's over 400,000.
Oh wow!
Veterans.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Buried
in Arlington, and show you how busy it is. The military, the military that are there at Fort Myers, they do up to 32 funerals a day.
A day. Wow.
So it is a process to get in terms of getting your loved one laid to rest. You fill out the paperwork. Your DD-214 is submitted along with that to show your qualifications that you're eligible to be buried in Arlington, whether it be in the ground or in a niche in one of the columbariums. So yeah, it is quite the place. And you know, of course, right there by Arlington, you've got right across the bridge, you have all the memorials, the Washington Monument, the Jefferson, the Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr.'s memorial is out there. The wall, the Vietnam Veteran Wall, that is in itself alone a tribute to all of those that were lost during that time. And if I'm not mistaken, it's over 58,000 that we lost in Vietnam.
Wow. Yeah, it's if you're ever out in the Washington area, visiting the Vietnam Wall is something that you should do. You should venture out and visit it. It's something special. It hits unlike anything you can think of. So,
and you know, for us, it's just a short 2-hour ride.
Yep.
Depending on traffic. But you know, we've hit traffic now, so
Yeah, I'm trying to focus on not getting hit.
Well, I'll just tell you this, Rob. When you're in DC, just like when you're in New York, you drive like they drive.
I've got no problem with that.
There is no forgiveness. You don't wait. You
Yep.
don't give people breaks because they will run you over.
Yep, I hear that. All right, well, Ron, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope to see you at more shows, and we can do this more often.
It's my pleasure, Rob. We have a lot left to do.
Absolutely.
And we're going to do it as often as we can.
And we're going to do it in style.
Yeah, always. Just like, guys, I'm going to tell you right now, you know, this is a thrill for me to be able to ride into this Mustang today. Rob offered to take me down here to Arlington, because I was saying I got to go down, and I wanted to go down this weekend. So I chose to come down today rather than actual Memorial Day, because it is a very busy time down here. And but yeah, this is a ultimate for me to be able to ride in this vehicle. There's so much right here, so much history in this vehicle. So I appreciate everything, Rob, and thank you for having me.
Thank you again. If you'd like what went on here today, you know, hit that subscribe button. There'll be more we put out. Thanks again.